Hi everyone, back again here to do more of the craft with me process videos of completing our Mother Goose journal. So obviously so far we've completed the inside of the front cover. We've done this page here. We've done this double page spread, and then we've done this other double page spread that I think we did last week. And we've done this one here, and this one here. So what I've done, because I wanted to make sure that I didn't use kind of embellishments, you know, use them all kind of thing, I've kind of placed them roughly where I think they might go. So on pages where I think they might go. So, you know, we know where we are really kind of with regards to how much we've got left to do in the journal. So what I thought we could do today is just work together on, you know, I mean, again, it doesn't really matter kind of which page. For some reason I've got it in my mind that I'm wanting to do this last page last, but I may change my mind. So let's just work on this page here. So I've popped some things kind of around that I thought we might use for this page. So one of those things, I've made this little embellishment here, which is coordinating with some scrapbook paper here that we've used earlier in the journal. We're up to, I think this is part 6 of this particular journal. So I've just created this little fold out kind of flip. It just tucks in under this journaling spot here. It's got the word inspired and the little butterfly. And I was lucky enough at the weekend to pick up these tiny envelopes, which I thought would be really useful. So I've copy dyed them, and I thought we could just kind of maybe stick this envelope with this on top of it. And as per kind of previous times, I haven't worked on this journal at all since my last video, so we really are working on it together. I've literally just left it all on the tray, you know, since last week. And unfortunately I've been really busy this week, and I've just been at work and things, so I really haven't done hardly any crafting at all. But hopefully I've got a couple of days off now and hopefully be able to crack on, you know, and do lots of things. So anyway, today, first afternoon, so let's get started. So obviously the pages are painted pink, you know, as per usual. So before I start anything, I'm just going to remove these items and just distress around the page so as it looks slightly more in keeping with the journal. Oops. I seem to have a lot of ink there on my ink blender. So I have to try and blend that in or cover it up because did get a bit much on there. See, with some more blending tools really, but I might order some later if I remember. So just kind of ink around, and again we're just really inking more around the edges because obviously most of the, you know, centre of these pages is going to be really covered up by the stuff that we're going to be sticking on. So, you know, I'm not kind of too worried. So we'll just kind of do it like that, just quite roughly, like this. Hope everyone's having a good week. Other than obviously being at work, I'm having quite a good week. Nothing kind of exciting going on, but that's probably a good thing. You know, just everything at an even, steady pace. Okay. Also during the week I came across this, which was a little dress of my daughter's that she wore last summer. Really pretty in this kind of minty green and white stripes. So I did wonder about coffee dyeing this dress. I could cut this gorgeous flower off, but coffee dyeing this dress and using this for the cover. I know I had talked about the pink lace. I know I'm kind of digressing a little bit, but I thought, you know, if I kind of coffee dyed the fabric, then we could ink up the lace a bit, maybe something kind of a combination of these two kinds of things on the cover. I don't know. Just something I'm mulling over, I suppose, at the moment. But I just thought, wow, you know, it's another one of those dresses that's really pretty. I don't want to just kind of chuck it out. You know, my daughter loved wearing it, and it would be really nice to kind of reutilise it and kind of get another kind of use out of it, so it, you know, lives on really. So I'm having to think about that. But I thought I would bring it along and show you all, and then maybe you could kind of comment below what you think, whether you think it would be ideal as a cover. Okay, so back to the page. So obviously I've got those flowers that we've been using as well. So I'm going to just kind of lay the page out roughly. I've brought along one of these kind of postcard stamped images that I love using these. And I just think they go with whatever style of journal that you're doing. They just go with it, which is just great, isn't it? So just going to ink around the edges. It has been coffee dyed, the kind of card that it's actually stamped onto. As you can see, it's kind of got text underneath it, but I rather like that because it makes it a bit more interesting. So we could have this kind of here or something. And then I also picked up, and threw on the pile again this week, one of my fabric tags. I love making these tags, and this one is just some fabric I've stamped on it, and then I've stuck on this stamped image of the Eiffel Tower inside a frame. And this was actually on some, again, it was old handbag, which I painted in very pale pink, stamped on the Eiffel Tower, cut it out, stitched it onto the fabric, and then I've got a bit of upholstery trim at the bottom, and then this ribbon at the top as a tab and a bow. Got a couple of mulberry flowers. I may or may not leave them on there. You know, I could just pick them off and kind of either stick just one layer on or something else completely. And the back is just fabric there. So I think these are really pretty. And I just thought actually colour-wise, this just went beautifully with this journal. So I may incorporate that somehow onto this page really. Yeah, I'll have a think about that. So I'll just put that to one side. So here I've just got one of those little fold out kind of flip things here. And then what we could do is obviously kind of make this a little bit smaller and trim it down. Now, I haven't got my corner rounder. Hopefully I have. I'm just going to rummage in my little bag that I brought down with me. For the purposes of the video. Yeah, luckily I have got my corner rounder. So what we could do is just literally round the corners of this. I'm loving how this journal is coming together. It's really pretty and it's so fun to work on. Just, yeah, I love the colours of it. It's really, really, really pretty and just looks really lovely. So I'm having great fun, and I hope that you're all enjoying it and not finding it really tedious. So I will try and speed it up a bit, if you know, because I wonder whether everyone is getting a bit bored of kind of watching it really. So I'll pop this here, because last week I know that my video was very, very long. And then I backed it up with another 20-minute one kind of the following day, so maybe that's too much. So I'm thinking kind of something like this. Again, I've brought along some kind of fabric flowers that, you know, I wondered about using. I did actually remember to chuck some bows on the pile this time, so we could have kind of a bow somewhere. Because every week that I've done one of these, I've been really feeling that the pages needed a bow, and I haven't had one. So I finally remembered to bring some, you know, some bows. And we've got some fabric ruffle that we could use somewhere. I've also brought along some other fabric ruffle in different fabrics. So I've got this one that's floral, which I thought goes quite nicely with the kind of floral bits and pieces. So what I might do is kind of actually get on and stick some bits down. So I might stick this actually on top of that envelope. I was having a bit of problems with my glue, I noticed earlier. Oops, no problems now, it's coming out very quickly. It was kind of, you know, blocked. So I did kind of poke it around and obviously I've cleared the blockage and now it's pouring out, absolutely pouring out. So now I've got too much glue. I'll just stick this on like that. Get rid of the excess that's coming out around the edges, because obviously it was coming out very quickly. There we go. Right, just press that down. So what I'm going to do actually is just leave that to one side, but I'm going to put something kind of heavyish on there. I've got some books here. I'm just going to put a book on there just to weight it down for a moment, just while I kind of work on other bits on the page. So I might stick these flowers here. I did kind of say about covering that heavily inked bit up, so I mean we could have kind of a little bit there. So I'm going to stick these flowers down. Again, I might just partially stick them so they're a kind of tuck spot. You know, they don't have to be used as a tuck spot, but it's always good to have the option, I guess, isn't it? So just pop that to one side. Yes, I wonder whether you're all getting a little bit bored of these videos in this series, so I thought I would speed it up a bit by kind of, you know, laying out the items a little bit on the page first. I mean, it was twofold really. Was A, to make sure that I had, you know, left enough items for every page, but also, you know, I am aware that this is taking up a lot of people's time and, you know, maybe are all losing interest a bit and finding it a bit boring. So I thought I'd try and speed it up a little bit. Right, so we have that. And then on this side of the page, I'm going to pop this down. Might have it slightly at an angle. I don't know whether I want it really straight. Just going to flick through. I have got a couple of things at slight angles. So, you know, it could cope with that. So I might do it like that. Yeah, I might have it like that. Again, I'm going to just stick it down as a pocket. You know, doesn't even have to be used as a pocket, but if we see, my glue's now blocked up again, even though it was gushing out just now. So hopefully I've got my stick pin here and I can just unclog my glue quickly. Oh, come on, come on, come on. This is just my little tin that I've been bringing with me of bits and bobs every time that I've done these videos. Yeah, so I'm just going to glue this down like a pocket, because even if we don't actually use it as a pocket, it's always good to have the option, isn't it? So, you know, it doesn't really hurt to have the option there. I'm just going to have it going off slightly like that. Okay. And I'm going to stick this flower up at the top. Like that. Now I have started sorting out those book pages that I had been talking about, but because I have been quite busy, I've still not really completed them. So, you know, I haven't kind of forgotten. But the only other thing was I did actually pack up a little set. So I think in the end the sets kind of that I've started to pile up are in sets of 28 pages, and I walked them up to the post office to find out how much it would be to post them. Obviously the UK is fine, but posting kind of overseas, it was then £10, which would be the same postage as I quote, or you know, the same as the postage is for my kits and my tag bags, which is about $14–15. So you know, again, I'm not sure really how successful that's going to be, because do people really want to pay all that amount? You know, I don't really know. So that's kind of where I'm at with that really. So we're going to have this now. Do we or don't we want string? Just having a look to see how many times I have used string. I don't want to drive people potty having to keep on repeatedly untying things, but equally I do rather like untying things. Or what we could do is, I guess, attach this with a paper clip on the side that would actually hold this shut and also this tag on here. So I might do that for this one. What do you think? Might do that. So I've just tentatively kind of put that piece of lace down there, just playing really, you know, not decided. And then we could kind of have this lace here or something. Let's have a look. Bring the envelope back. Hopefully that's kind of well stuck on there now. So I was going to kind of pop that somewhere here. I'll just take this out for a moment. So, and obviously it's just going to be stuck with the flap. So I might just stick that down, and then it will hopefully be a little bit easier to kind of, you know, see how the ground lies. And that's clogged up again. It's really annoying when the glue keeps doing that. I have got my glue gun beside me as well, so I might just revert to using that in a minute if this is going to keep playing up. So we just pop that there like that. Yeah, I've been really excited to get back to this journal. It's you know, I'm really enjoying working on it, and it's been disappointing to not be able to be working on it at all. So it's nice to get back in here and actually be able to do some bits on it. So I'll just hold that at the sides for a moment or two. So we've got that like that. So, and we're going to stick that there. So it's just a case of really deciding what we want down here in this area. Obviously I don't really like blank space very much. So I have got some doilies here. We could pop a doily down there. That's quite nice. Or maybe kind of off to the side. We could stick a doily at the top and have it lower. Kind of there in between the postcard and the fold out. Obviously we've got those ruffles. Now the only thing is, if I use a ruffle down there, when you fold it out, you're not really going to be able to journal very much on it. So probably a ruffle is not ideal for there. Maybe have a ruffle on this side instead. Maybe even just here on the bottom of that envelope. Let's have a think. I have got this pink lace here. Maybe a bit too pink. I've still got that crocheted lace that I've been using on this journal. And actually this one seems very versatile, and everywhere I put it, it seems to be really nice. So maybe we'll go for that. And I did wonder about having some more things here. Just kind of playing around. Now obviously I'm going to put some more flowers somehow on this page, because it's kind of needing tying in, I think, to the other side. So I've got my packet of flowers here that I've been using, and I've also got those embellishments and what have you that I've been using. So let me just put my lid on my distressing, can move that out of the way. So I could maybe use something like one of the little teacups. So let's just grab a couple of things from here. I've got a frame, which I really like the frames. So I could actually just even have a frame there. So I'm just going to distress that. It's been stamped onto a very pale pink paper. If I just kind of distress ink around that, we'll see kind of how that looks. Have that like that, and then we could have one of the flowers maybe here, that That looks quite pretty, doesn't it? So I'll just distress this flower up so it's a little bit more kind of going with the journal. And this flower, again, this is one of the Kaisercraft die cuts. It's not one of these fussy cut ones, but it just goes so well. You know, the two things together just go so well. So, I mean, I quite like that as that is. We'll just have a look if I want to use any of these little bits and bobs here. So in these little die cuts, there's best friends, bring out the best in you. Lots of this is grey, which I don't necessarily want grey stuff. Oh, tea time, that's cute, isn't it? So we could have that there. The sweet life, that's nice. What's that? Sweet treats. That's quite nice, isn't it? More flowers. More of these round sort of doily type looking things. It's more flowers, and that's another one of those rounds, which I actually used last week. So I mean, I think we popped it on a doily last week. We could kind of have it like that on the doily. Let me just dress ink this. I think the beauty of using the frames is because I think they're great for journaling things that you want to stand out from the rest of the book. So I'm going to stick this frame down. You know, kind of even if it were just a place name or the date or, you know, something special, then I think they're a really great way to do that and kind of just separate it out from the rest of the journaling. So, you know, or something really funny that happened, or, you know, really lovely that happened, or some beautiful flowers that you saw, or, you know, just something kind of different that stood out from the rest of the things in the journal. So I'll just pop that like that. I'm going to stick this doily down next. So I think that's why I quite like using them. I think I did say last week, I mean, I love kind of ornate frames and things like that. So obviously being able to just stamp these frames and have them throughout your journal is kind of like an awesome treat for me. I think they're, you know, they look lovely, and 9 times out of 10, wherever I put them, I think, oh, looks lovely. So yeah, I really like using them. And as I say, they kind of seem to go with all styles, kind of vintage, you know, the nursery rhyme kind of kiddie ones, all of them. They just, well, they just go really nicely. Let me move this out of the way. So I'm just going to ink that up actually, just in case I want to use this. I did a lot of coffee dyeing at the weekend because we actually had nice weather for once. It was very, very sunny. In fact, it was very, very hot. Not on Saturday actually, but on Sunday. So I thought I'm going to actually go and do a lot of coffee dyeing outside in the garden, and then it obviously will dry, you know, rather than me having to use the oven, which was absolutely great. I didn't get quite all of it done that I wanted to get done, unfortunately, but I got a lot done. So my hands are suffering now because they just now are stained from the coffee dye, which just looks horrid. Right, so if we have that, something like that, I think looks quite nice. So I'm going to stick this flower down first. Yeah, it was brilliant to be able to actually dry the coffee dye papers outside. I had done some last summer, but obviously, you know, haven't been able to get out at all since then. So it was just brilliant because it was drying quite quickly. So I was able to get a lot more done than I can when I'm doing it inside, you know, because obviously you're kind of limited for space. And as I say, it was just really quick and really easy. So that was just really exciting to be able to do that. Obviously, little things must really please me because I absolutely found that really exciting. I'm sure most people probably wouldn't find that very exciting, but for me it was kind of, oh great, the sun's shining, I can do some coffee dyeing. So the garden was a bit of a mess. Well, it was a bit of a mess while I was coffee dyeing, but it was also a bit of a mess when we first went out there because obviously we hadn't really been out there you know, all winter, so it's quite a bit of things to tidy up really, but I didn't really get too waylaid in doing that. I put that off for another weekend, but my husband did clear some. So I'm going to cut that in half so that I have got some if I want to use some again somewhere else. When I say I will cut that in half, I'm now struggling to locate my scissors. You see, this is the problem because you obviously have so much stuff all over the desk. I'm going to cut it a little bit above half like that. Yeah, stuff all over the desk, so great for obviously them finding things. So I'm going to stick this down. Like that. Yeah, funnily enough, we had this strange kind of 3 days of beautiful, glorious, sunny weather. And now it's kind of back to drab and dreary and pretty chilly again, so bizarre. So I'm going to have it like that. And I will stick the lace on here afterwards, just in case I change my mind and want a different lace. So I'm going to again stick this down just on 3 sides. Oh, it's clogged up again. So frustrating. I have tried to you know, use kind of quite new bottles when I've done these videos. This one also is quite new, but it's obviously got clogged up somehow. I did have a comment, I think it was from Donna, saying that she uses that glue, and she said, oh, mine never comes out as easily as yours. So Donna, if you're watching, mine also is not coming out very easily today, so I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Definitely not coming out easily today. Right, I'm just going to kind of pop that down like that, and just for the moment I'm just going to pop this heavy book just on there just for a minute or two. So decide whether we want anything over here on this side of the page, obviously in amongst all of the stuff that I've brought here with me. I don't think, let's have a look. We've got obviously the teacups we could have. I'm just having a kind of bit of a look really, kind of in advance, because obviously I have used quite a few of these little Katie Craft embellishments, and I'm aware that there's a few pages left to do. So I don't necessarily want to use every single last thing, so or every single last cup. And I think that is the last cup in neutral colours. I think there is a grey one, but I didn't really want to use the grey one, so might hold fire on the cup. I'm sure I did see a cup, mind you, underneath some of my stuff. Now, what else I did actually come across this week, which I threw on the pile, I had these tea towels. I know that I used a tea towel earlier on or last week actually. I did a tutorial which I haven't uploaded yet, so I may or may not have uploaded the tutorial you know, by the time that this is loaded, so if I haven't, just please ignore what I'm talking about. But I used this tea towel, which I have coffee dyed. It wasn't this filthy colour. I've coffee dyed this and ironed it, although it's still quite creased looking. And I just wondered whether I could use something from here on the journal. So, because it was obviously kind of teacup and actually cupcakes, which obviously I haven't really used cupcakes particularly in this journal, but there was just something pulling me to it, and I just thought, ooh, I wonder whether I could utilise that at all in the journal. So I'm just literally cutting out this teacup shape from the tea towel. You know, it may be that this would not look great at all, in which case, you know, I won't obviously use it at all. But I just thought I'd give it a bit of a try. Maybe it, you know, is suitable, but maybe not for this page. But just kind of, you know, I just thought colour-wise it was really good. And theme wise I thought it was kind of ideal. Maybe it's too big really. So I just thought I would bring that along and try it. But, you know, I might be able to use them on a different page. So I'm not going to discard them completely. I'll just pop them kind of in there for maybe later. Because otherwise I'll forget I even kind of found them, to be honest. So, right. So we've got this here, bit of lace. I'm going to glue that on. So I'll just cut that off here. There we go. And I'm just going to glue it on just across like that. There we go. Super cute, very easy, and you know, just finishes it off nicely. And then what we could do is kind of have something else on there. We could have a little bow or something, you know, if we want to, or maybe a flower. Just see if I've got any kind of paper flowers that would go. These are some of those mulberry flowers that obviously these have been coffee dyed. You know, so we could just have something like that somewhere. Could have one down there actually. In fact, I'll see if I've got any pink ones we could have. Just rummaging in that tin there. Could have a pink one and that kind of more whitey pink one. So maybe like that. I quite like that. I hope I'm still in frame. Unfortunately, I can't really see the iPad because again I've got it balanced on those books, so it's not great vision to be able to kind of see what I'm doing or anything. Just going to unclog that glue again. It's being very unhelpful today. Just stick a bit more in there. Right, like that. So that's that. Now, I quite like that page. The only thing really that maybe I could add is butterfly or something, maybe. I think I did bring a couple of butterflies with me. Maybe not. Could have that one there kind of poking out. You see, this again is where my "ooh, everything looks better with" mentality is going on again. Or I could have the sweet treats kind of there, just hanging off somewhere. I could have both. Could have that up there. I'm going to have the butterfly. Right, so I'll just literally glue that on. Obviously it doesn't matter that the back of the card is actually patterned, because obviously you're not going to see that once it's glued on. I'll just stick that down like that. So that's another page done. Now what we could do is create a paper clip, although I have actually got a paper clip that I did make, or began to make to go with this kit, with the original Mother Goose embellishments. Unfortunately, I haven't brought it into the room with me, but we could use that. Or we could kind of try and alter a paper clip. I think I have got some altered paper, not altered, they're not altered yet, some paper clips here with me. So what we could do is kind of just, you know, try and alter it here while we're working. Let's have a look and see what we've got here to the side in my things that I have brought along with me for this video. So I've got this pink lace actually, which this might be just right for this paper clip. So just going to literally thread it through. Oops, like that. Oh, come on. This is because I'm filming. It's now not playing the game. So I just kind of pop that like that. I mean, that looks quite pretty. So what I'm going to do, I'll just glue that together. Like that. Oops. Dropping my glue now. that's kind of glued together. And then I could add kind of a flower or something onto here, or some trim, or I've got a frame or some butterflies. So I'm just going to leave this just literally for a couple of moments just to kind of dry it slightly. Just leave the scissors on there, kind of balancing. So what I could do is I've got here a pink frame. I've got some butterflies, which are quite nice. I've got obviously another one of those tiny flowers. So I'm just going to kind of ink this just in case I use this flower. Actually, probably that's the better side. I'll just ink that side instead. And then we can just pop that on there. Oops. Do you know, now I can't actually tell which side I actually worked on and said would be better. I think it was that side, but I wouldn't swear by it. We could have the frame. Actually, no, I don't like the frame. We could have a butterfly. It's quite pretty. So I'm just going to literally glue this flower on. I'm going to just use the hot glue because then we won't have to wait for it to dry. Just stick that like that. And then, do we like the butterfly? Just ink around the edges of the butterfly. Because this butterfly is actually this glittery paper, you know, it's not really going to kind of take to the ink that much anyway, so there we go. That's quite sweet, isn't it? Just kind of finishes that off nicely, so I'm just going to hot glue him on as well. I'll just move that to one side and I just hot glue it like that. Oops. There we go. So now I've got my fabric tag. I'm going to pick these flowers off. They should be quite easy because actually they've been coffee dyed, and so they begin to kind of curl up, I suppose is the word I'm looking for. And so then they're quite easy to get them on and off anyway. So I'll get that off like that. And then what I could do is just either leave them like that, which I rather like, or I could stick little tiny kind of gemstones in them, which might be quite nice. So I have a variety here. These are very annoying because they you know, come unstuck and get stuck all over the packaging, which you know, it's just messy, isn't it, to work with. So let's try a pink and a green. They're quite nice. Yeah, I quite like those. So I'm just going to literally stick them in. So, oops. I'm going to just pop a bit of glue in the centre of that flower. I mean, again, I've said before, these are actually sticky back flowers, but I do always like to glue them so that they are properly stuck, because that sticky back stuff, it's not necessarily very durable. It's not really necessarily got the longevity that you kind of want, really. So that's that. And actually I'm going to stick this flower, because as you can see it now actually was coming off, and then I will do the same with the other one. So the other one might be holding fast a bit more, but I will re-stick it because I like to make sure it's actually, you know, properly stuck. So right, so hopefully that's stuck now, good and strong. And I'm just going to pop that there, and then with the old paper clip, just going to literally, and this is obviously a pocket on the side of this page, so I'm just going to literally pop it here, oops, and glue the fabric tab to the page. I think that page looks really pretty, you know, and obviously we're going to put some items in these kind of areas as well. The only thing that I'm now wondering is whether we need one more thing down here. So again, I might just pull that crocheted lace back in and see whether we want just a line of crochet. Yeah, that just finishes that off, doesn't it? To me, otherwise that was looking slightly unfinished. I'm just going to stick that literally along there to kind of finish it. I'll just pop a line of glue, and again this is blocked again. It's very annoying. There we go, and we just literally pop this crocheted lace there along the bottom. So again, that's kind of done now, looking really pretty. So I don't know quite what the time is, whether we could cram another page in or whether that's being really greedy with the time. Let me have a look, see what the time is. We could maybe do another page, but probably not a double page spread because we'll probably run out of time. So let's have a look at this one and see whether we can do something quite quick on this one. So I'm going to ink around. I don't know what the video's up to 41 minutes. So we'll just ink around here. Around the edges. And then we'll do the facing page as well. Yeah, I mean, you know, it might be that we'll just get started on them, but it would be nicer to kind of get at least one side done, wouldn't it? Because, you know, that kind of completes it. I'm just, as I say, kind of conscious that you're maybe kind of getting a bit bored of working on this journal. So I'm just kind of thinking if we could speed it up a bit so those, you know, it's not quite such a protracted process, then, you know, maybe that would be better for people. So, right, done that. Let's have a look. So we've got this one here that I thought we'd use. I've got this little tiny pocket that is one of those little coin envelope or wage envelope things. I've just made a little pocket with some scrapbook paper. I've folded the flap up, made a little pocket there. Hopefully you can see some more scrapbook paper, which again matches that other paper that we've used. Journaling spot here, and then I've just created a tiny tag that just slots in like that. So I kind of thought that would be quite nice somewhere. And then I've just put that there just to see, you know, purely for kind of experimentation really, to see whether that might look nice. You know, it might not. So what else have I got here in the pile that we could use? I'm going to really try and race through this page. Oh, I have just noticed we've also got this corner piece, so mustn't forget that. So let's just check. So maybe we'll have that here. Yeah. Okay. Right. It's got these couple of bits here. I thought I brought in another one of those pages, you know, from that builder's book that we've used that once before in this journal, but I actually don't think I have, which is a little bit annoying, because I thought that would kind of tie it in. But anyway, not to worry, we can use something else, so we're just kind of on the fly here at the moment. So I've got this stamped image of a crossword. I quite like those, and I thought, you know, maybe that might be fun somewhere, so we could maybe use that somewhere here on this page. So then we'd have these two kind of fold out flips. We'd have this one up here, and sorry, this one is not a fold out flip, but a pocket here anyway. And then obviously I've got some more of the flowers, so let's just have a look at what flowers, you know, what size and shape flowers we've got here. So I've got these ones here, so again I'll just distress ink these. Now hopefully kind of being under pressure to get this done will stop me overthinking it and, you know, taking forever. So who knows, we'll see in a second whether I manage to rush ahead and kind of just do this without, you know, thinking and thinking and thinking. Now I did say, you know, because this was the page we did last week where we hung this, so we did say about covering this up with something, because I'm not over keen on being able to see that up there. I have got this torn piece of the scrapbook paper, so we could kind of have a little corner piece going on. Just tear that so it's a better shape, and then I'll just distress ink that, and you can just see whether we, you know, might like that there. I mean, we really are just playing and kind of just experimenting, so you know, definitely I want to have this, I think, on the facing page. I'm just going to cut this because I noticed, sorry, that was my distress ink rolling around, making that horrible noise. Just cut that down because it wasn't quite straight. So we could have that there. I mean, again, obviously I've got that big cupcake. We could have that somewhere. We had that cup. Wherever I put that. Put it in here, didn't I? So we could even incorporate the cup somewhere. I mean, I don't know whether this cup's going to actually work anywhere, but I just brought it along just because I wondered whether it might. But you know, it might not, so probably not, to be honest. I've got some fabric flowers we could use. I've got, again, those Tim Holtz rosettes. I've got some other flowers here, they're quite nice. Now, where have I put those doilies? So once I find the doily, which can't have gone far because it's all here just beside me, you know, it's not a million miles away, but it's obviously now got buried under the whole pile of things that I've been bringing here for the video. Right, here we go. So what we could do is obviously use one of those doilies. I'm just going to cut that in half again. Getting really dark outside now. It's obviously going to pour down with rain in a moment. So we could have something like that, although that might be too much and a bit too cluttered in that area. So we could have something like this kind of going on with the flowers coming out here, or maybe that doily kind of isn't right. Maybe a bit of ruffle, right? Oh, maybe a bit of this pink lace trim. See, this is what happens when you're greedy with the time and think, oh, I'm just going to pop another video in and kind of do another page, because now I'm now struggling to make it come together, which is a bit frustrating, I must say. Hold on. Let's just have a look. Could have some of that crocheted lace up there. That's always really nice. And we have got that sweet treats, actually. So we could have that. Now, is it really the crossword that's making that look a bit cluttered, do you think? Let's have a look and see what else we've got. I wish I had brought that other page in. It's a bit annoying that I haven't, because I think that might have been kind of ideal as just a background. Pop that there. No, this is looking not very good, I have to say. So maybe it's time to give up for today. I'm not sure. I've got this rather like. That's cute, isn't it? And then where's that sweet treats thing gone? It's gone here. Right, no, I'm going to go and get a page from that builder's book. So I literally will be 2 minutes, so not even. It'll be probably 20 seconds, so hold on 2 minutes. And I showed you this book before, and we've used a page of this book earlier on in the journal. So I'm just going to just tear out another page and use it again. It was this book here, the Federation of Master Builders book. And I'm just going to literally, doesn't matter which page, I think they're all quite fun. I'm just going to tear out a page, and I mean, what I just literally thought it would do was kind of add a bit of a background to the page. So you can give it a try. I'm just going to tear this down here. So if I were to do that, no, not sure about that now. Now, what's going on? What's going on today? Why is nothing coming together now? Again, I mean, if you're following along with this, you're maybe sat there kind of shouting, saying exactly what needs to go there. I don't know. I have got this little item here, so maybe this would work better. Either as well as or instead of, actually. So let's try that. So let me ink this up. This is just some of that same colour pink cardstock or scrapbook paper as the frame that we used on the last page. So, you know, it should go nicely with the journal. So we could have that. In fact, maybe it's because we've got that type. Maybe that's what's not quite looking so good, because that's very bold font. So let's try that like that. And then we've got that one to go down here. So if we had that, and then we could have a bit of the crochet lace across the top maybe. And when I used that other piece of that page, can we remember whether I distressed it or just used it like that? Look where I used it. Oh, I've used it a couple of times. Look. I don't think I did distress it, oddly enough. So, you know, that's kind of how we used it. So I could stick that like that. Or I have actually got this little fold out piece as well, which I thought was rather nice. So we could use that somewhere. Could turn that over and use that as a fold down flip rather than a kind of folding out. We could get rid of that altogether. Oh, I'm struggling to make this come together, and I think that's why I was dreading doing these process videos and kind of worrying about doing them, because obviously, you know, this is frustrating to do this in front of people and kind of for people to see, but I guess also quite a good you know, process that everyone's kind of probably familiar with. I'm pretty sure we probably all have these kind of moments where we just can't get things to come together properly. So, you know, maybe that's kind of comforting to people. I'm not sure. Or maybe it's just really tedious to watch and you all just think, oh, for goodness sake, you know, switch off and give up for today. I'm not sure. So we could have it like that. And pop, actually, you know, one of those coloured pearls in the centre of that or something. That might look quite pretty. And these packet of these mixed colours. There's some pretty pink ones here. Could just kind of pop that on there. And that looks quite nice, I think. And actually then we could pop either a journaling spot or a butterfly or something like that there. Let me find that crocheted lace again. I'm obsessed with the crocheted lace now today. I just think it's you know, quite a good one, because so far every time I put it anywhere I just really like it. So I quite like that. I don't know what everyone else thinks. I think that looks quite nice. And I mean, obviously we can always revisit these pages, you know, it's kind of not hard and fast, fixed and never to be touched again. You know, we can always kind of add other things if later kind of decide to. So what I might do is just kind of glue, first of all, the book page down. Right, let me move these things kind of still in place so that we can kind of remember where we were going with that. Oh, the glue's got clogged up again. Oh, this definitely was a mistake, wasn't it, to continue on to do another page. I think everything's kind of going against me now and saying you should have stopped. You should have stopped at that first two. It's just really because I'm trying to get through the journal now so that you haven't got quite so many episodes to sit through. You know, because, yeah, I think maybe you're all getting a bit bored and it's a bit tedious. So I thought, oh, I'll try and speed up and kind of work through it quicker. But that's probably a bit of a mistake, to be honest, to have thought that. Oh, this is very, very annoying. Hold on a moment. There we go. Right. What's that saying? More haste, less speed, I think. I don't know whether that's just a saying we have here or whether that's a saying we have everywhere, or, you know, that exists everywhere. Definitely it's a saying that my mum would say. Right. There's that. Now I was going to have this one up here and possibly that one to the side. Then the flowers here, nice here. And then I've got this big giant flower that I thought looked quite nice here. So my next area is stick this one down. So again, come on glue, play the game. Now I'm thinking, has this now just turned into the most disastrous video I've ever done? And I really hope not, because I'm going to have to upload it anyway, because I did promise that we would be working on this journal together, and obviously, you know, I don't want to now not work on it together, if you see what I mean. So I'm going to have to just, you know, go with it regardless and upload this, even though I had a moment of kind of panic just now. I'm just going to upload it anyway, so I apologise if that was really tedious and really, you know, frustrating to watch just now. Yeah, I think it's things like that that would prevent me from doing the live streams, which, you know, although they sound really fun, I'm not sure that I would have the confidence to do them, to be honest. You know, because I would definitely go into panic mode if then things were going wrong. So, you know, I'm not quite sure that I'm cut out for those, really. It's a shame, because actually, you know, I was kind of thinking, maybe, because how are they very much different to doing these process videos? But I mean, actually they are quite different, because, you know, you do always have that get out clause, don't you, of kind of not uploading your video, you know, if you really don't feel very happy with it. Where obviously if you're live, you don't have that option at all, do you? So, you know, that is actually very, very different, isn't it? So, yeah, I don't think I'm quite ready for that yet. So, yes, I will definitely hold back from doing them. Right, so I'm going to stick these flowers just here. Just pop them on. Now actually covered in glue. I think I've said before, I am one of those messy people. You know, kind of if we're decorating, the second that the lid is off the paint, that's it, I'm covered in it. And yeah, that's me, unfortunately, which again, that's kind of hard to hide when you're doing these videos, isn't it? So, you know, trying to pretend that you're not a messy crafter and that you don't get covered in paint and glue and what have you, that's just hard to do, isn't it, when you're actually filming it and and you are covered in it. Right. So then I've got this little pocket here, and I mean, I'm quite liking that flower. What does everyone else think? Do we all like that flower? Would we like a bow? And I also brought along these bigger bows, which I love using these and making these, so could also pop a bigger bow up there. That's quite pretty. Or we could have a piece of ruffle up there. Did I try that already? I feel like it might be top heavy that way, or side heavy anyway, all over that side if I kind of do things like that. So let's have a look. Actually, the pink's quite nice. So I will come back to that bit in a moment. So what I'm going to do is actually stick this down here. Now I might stick this down as a tuck spot. Actually, I'm going to stick this down with the hot glue, as my glue is not really kind of playing today. So, and just for speed, we'll just pop that down like that with the hot glue. Right, like that. And then we've got this flower, which again, this was just a paper flower which I've kind of distress inked. I coffee dyed it and distress inked it. So we can use that. I'm going to distress ink this one. I have done a little bit already, but I'm just going to do it a bit more so it's a bit more vintagey looking. Like that. And then see how that centre looks there, like that. So quite like that. Just wondered whether a different centre would be better. I had brought my buttons along last week and was determined to use those, hadn't I? And I obviously haven't brought them in today. Or, you know, haven't brought them with me today. I have got this flower. Is that one better? Again, I doubt it's really a huge issue, is it? So let's just go with this one. So pop that down and then decide on the other one, rather than kind of sit here deciding and deciding for hours on end. I just need to stop overthinking things and actually just make a decision. So I've got that one, and then I think whether there's anything else I could use as a centre. I could have the little buttons on the Hessian. Right, do we like this? Do we like that one? We could have even kind of this. Oh, it's so hard to decide, isn't it? Right, that one or that one. Actually, I quite like this. Now, do we like the mulberry flower? Or if I pull that off, and I'll just distress ink that. What we could do then is pop a pearl in the middle of that. That's quite pretty, isn't it? So just going to literally, oops, glue that pearl on. Like that. And then I'm going to stick that flower on before I think about it any more. I am just going to check how bulky that's actually going to make it, to be honest, because obviously that's quite a bulky flower, you know, so I just wanted to check kind of from the side how bulky that would actually make it. I wonder if I'm better off. I have this fabric flower here to see whether that kind of makes it less bulky. I mean, I quite like these bulky journals. I think they're quite nice. But obviously not everybody does, and I guess there is probably a limit to how bulky people like them, isn't there? So let's go for it, because we can always pick it off if we decide it's awful. So I'm just going to literally hot glue that down here on the page. And then for the final touches on here, we could have that and that and that. or we could use this pink lace here. Like that. You see, I quite like the pink lace on this page actually. I think it's rather nice. Yeah, I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to go with the pink lace. So, okay. That was my carrier bag just fallen over now. That was my carrier bag of rubbish that I, for rubbish that I just brought with me so that I can just pack up and not leave everything in my son's room, and not have to make a billion trips kind of thing. So I can just take my rubbish in kind of 1 or 2 goes. So just stick that down again because it wasn't that well stuck. There we go. And then move that out of the way. Right. This obviously I have not worked on this page, but I'm not going to obviously bore you with that today because I think I've obviously pushed my luck too much today after my moment of panic just now. So yeah, I'm going to leave that. Last thing, I want a journaling spot there, or are we now getting into kind of cluttered territory? What I might do is actually leave this for today. I'm going to shut the book with these in here so as it kind of reminds me, and obviously that for next time, and then we will come back to that. So today we've done obviously this single page here, which actually looks really pretty now, and we also worked on this double page spread. So I'm quite liking kind of those pages now. So I'm going to go and leave you all to it now after your horrendous experience of having to view this with me, panicking that obviously my glue wasn't working and I couldn't decide what to do. And then hopefully I'm going to get time to actually come back and work on this a little bit more during the end of this week. So tomorrow and Friday, I'm hoping that I'm going to have more time to kind of work on the other pages. Potentially we could even maybe finish it this week, depending on how quickly we do the pages. So I'm going to really make an effort to work on them quicker. And if you let me know about the front cover, whether you would prefer that I just kind of do that alone, that would be great. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I apologise again for it dragging on so long, and hope it wasn't too chaotic and awful experience for everyone. So thanks very much and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.